Hello there, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to a new show on CharismaToAC. We'll be playing Masks, a new generation. This is the first show, I guess, this is one of two new shows that will be brought to the channel in the new year, the year of our Lord and Savior role-playing games, 2017. We'll be playing some teenage superhero stuff. This is an amazing game, in my opinion. This is, again, as I mentioned, this is Masks, a new generation, made by Brendan Conway, published by Magpie Games, kickstarted in 2015, published in 2016. It's an awesome, awesome game based on the Apocalypse World engine. And I have with me today two new faces and two old faces. Yeah, that's right, your faces are old, guys. I have with me Rasmus and AJ, who you may know from such shows as Burning Wheel and from A Song at Tara. And joining us today are Thalmet and Comrade Brain. Hi, guys.
Hello.
Hello, Daniel.
So,
And we know our faces are old.
Right.
We can't help it. It's
your
our
faces
faces.
are old, and it's not gonna get any younger.
I'm happy you can still use my old face for something.
Down with the old, in with the new.
Well, strictly speaking, none of CharismaToAC has actually seen our faces.
That's true. So they have only seen your faces in
they
their
can't
mind.
tell if it's right or wrong. I don't know if that's good or bad.
Theatre of the mind.
Indeed. We'll all go to our mind palace and we'll spend our time in there being teenage superheroes, shying away from reality and avoiding our issues.
Yay! RP!
All right. So, being that we're starting a new game, there are some first session to-dos, and I think it's prudent, as we do with all role-playing games. The first thing we'll do is we'll talk about safe space. We'll make sure that everyone is on the same page here. So if there's something that makes any of you uncomfortable in open discussion, something we don't want to mention, or any themes or like a kind of tone we want to stray away from, let's bring that up. Let's have that up front now, so we know to avoid it as players and like be pleasant to each other in that regard.
We're always pleasant, right?
Yes. Join the herd. No, but yeah, so the notion of safe space is, of course, kind of important because we're all here to have a good time. With that said, and even though I'm coming to you like this and being like, let's talk about this up front immediately, as if that's supposed to be like, it sounds like there's a kind of finality to it when I say it, but there is no problem in bringing it up later on. It's just that if you know something that you would rather avoid, then bringing it up now is just good for the conversation. I have a player on another team who prefers we don't speak about hospitals and medical stuff out in the open, and it's good to know these kinds of things. I take the rip-roaring silence to mean that no one has anything that springs to mind.
Please don't dismember any animals. Then I'll have to dismember you. And we don't.
We'll shy away from animal cruelty then. We'll probably have like I imagine, because I do that. I imagine like it's very easy to write a supervillain whose motivation is animal cruelty, right? And make like character like, no, let's be good. Like, you're being cruel to the animals and experimenting on them. And then I got radioactive goop on me and became, I don't know, like Tiger Girl. Now I'm breaking into zoos and setting the animals free, like something like that is a very easy road to go down. But if it ever becomes relevant, not saying it will.
Can we please stop the reenactment of the Captain Planet?
Oh god, that is, yeah. So I mean, so if, what the fuck is that guy's name? Ted what? Who made that show? Ted something. I forget. Anyway, so I need to look up what the guy who was behind Captain Planet was called, so I can like feature it like a bastardization of his name in this game. But yeah, so just okay. So we'll shy away from animal cruelty, duly noted. And if for some reason it has to come up, not saying it will, then it will be like tastefully understated in all ways and respects. All right. So let's talk about Masks and what this game is actually about. Masks: A New Generation is a game in which we will play as teenage superheroes. It is a game about, yes, being a superhero, but it also features very prominently the notion of teenage, the notion of change, self-identification, and like finding out what your role is in the world. This is kind of like embodied in the title of the game, right? It's about masks. It's about who you choose to think of yourself as and who the world projects that you are to you. This is a game about finding out. That is to say, it's a game where you play to find out. Just to make sure that you're all familiar with this term. What this means is that the way you play the game divorces itself from games like Dungeons and Dragons or Pathfinder, where the idea is that you play to win, because the game only rewards you for winning. In this case, the game rewards you for just like playing to find out. If you fail something, you still get rewarded. It's fine, right? You won't get the thing you wanted to do as you set out to try it, but the game will reward you all the same for failing. So it's about like investigating the fiction in that way. As we mentioned earlier, this game is powered by the Apocalypse, and the way we play it is by character description. In play, we describe what we're doing, what our characters set out to do, and through the description might trigger a move, and the move is where what you describe interacts with the mechanical side of the game. It's pretty easy. It flows very naturally once we get to it. And there is no harm in taking time out to learn it, right? So don't feel like you have to come to this game a master. What else should we talk about? Yeah, so let's talk about the backdrop of the world. This game will be primarily set in the city called Halcyon City, the greatest city on Earth that lies. It's some unspecified place in America. It is like an amalgamation of all the greatest cities in all the superhero universes, like slammed together in this glorious mess that is just like the perfect backdrop for any superhero story. So that means that you have your Metropolis-esque golden skyscrapers and like beautiful clean buildings against like a beautiful sunrise. But you also have like segments of the city that are like the old city, where everything is like tall glass panes and gargoyles, and like it rains a lot for some reason, and like smokestacks in the background and so on, where you can hang out and be broody. And there are like the beautiful tile roof covered green grass lawned suburbs, where you can be a teenager with a world full of problems in a world that doesn't seem to care about you, as well as like horrible tenement slums and everything, right? So the city, if you need a backdrop for something, you can probably find it in Halcyon City. Aside from that, Halcyon City is also the center of the superhero world, in the sense that a lot of supering goes on in and around Halcyon City. There is superhero stuff going on all over the planet and in different dimensions and in space, but it all seems to center on Halcyon City. This is where most stuff goes on for some unknown reason. And heroes and villains exists in all stratas of Halcyon Cities. Be it from like active superheroes and supervillains to like retired superheroes and supervillains. Some in jail, some walking free as functional though older members of society. There are ex-heroes and villains and active heroes and villains involved in politics, in business. They are essentially possibly everywhere, and at the same time they are few and far between enough that you, for some reason, will always be called upon to deal with shit. Guess what? You're the title characters of the show. The hot potato is gonna fall in your lap every time.
But what if you don't like potatoes?
Yep, that's just it, right? So you're a young teenage superhero in a world, and you just want to let the world know you hate potatoes, and the world just keeps chucking them at you, just like, here, have a potato.
Aww. But I don't like potatoes.
I wouldn't say I sympathize, but I sympathize with the notion that I don't like this. Keep it away, but no, alas, the world is
Unfair.
exactly, it is unfair, and it doesn't listen to your complaints, and it spends a lot of time telling you who you are, even though you couldn't care less, or so you claim.
Well, at least I'm a Nova. I can blow shit up.
Other things about Halcyon City is that because of its active superhero and supervillain history, the city, like, for some reason, like, it always manages to be rebuilt. So even though you might blow up a memorial, or like destroy a school, or explode a city block, like the thing will be back to normal. It'll be restored. The city just like kind of works with the fact that superheroes and villains exist. Like hovering invading alien space fleets are something the city is prepared for, and all the same is so unprepared for that they need to to lean on the crutch of teenage superheroes working freelance. So.
Do we have a Roll20 we go into?
I have sent you a link, but if you haven't, if you can't find it,
what's it called?
It should be just the newest link in your Discord.
No, what's it called? I have a lot of recent games, but what is it called?
This is called Masks: A New Generation. CharismaToAC.
No,
okay,
I don't have that.
I'm gonna give you a new link. In that case.
It's because I have two of functioning and masks, but not New Generation.
I'm gonna send it your way. There we go.
Yay!
Have a link.
Yay! Yay! A link. Aww, Rain's Discord is checking for updates. How dare it?
No, it was just dropping voice every now and
again. Did you
again.
receive it, or should I send it to you via Skype or something?
I didn't get anything.
I'll send it to you on every channel I know about. Then you'll probably get it.
That could end badly. Suddenly everything on my PC goes bling bling bling
everything
bling bling.
lights up all at once.
Yay! Finally, you send it on Skype, and then I also get it in Discord.
The timing is of course perfect, as it is liable to be.
It's amazing. It's amazing.
So naturally, as this is a show produced by me, there's almost guaranteed to be technical issues because I don't know what I'm doing. Which I think I think I don't know what I'm doing is probably gonna be my epitaph.
I don't know what I'm doing! Run! The children are panicking in the streets.
The real question is here, do you have a proper technical issues jingle?
I don't. I should actually get that. That is... It's crazy how often the obvious things eludes us, right? Like with my luck and capacity for the technical, my first thought should have been like a technical issues, we'll be right back thing. But it's not. Yeah. So I'll think about that in the future.
You should totally make a screen where a supervillain is currently just destroying a city. All you see is the skyline of the city, and then some huge ass thing just lasering it down and says technical issues.
Just a flying pyramid shooting a laser beam into my setup, just like destroying my house. Yeah. Boom.
Exactly.
That's so good.
Something like that.
Of course.
Technical issues.
Hell yeah.
Be right back.
I'm gonna think about that. I'm gonna see if I can get someone to make me something like that. All right, so let's talk character creation. So we've like introduced the basics of Halcyon City. Now let's talk about superheroes. So as part of the title of this game, A New Generation, it's implied that there have been generations before you, and indeed there have. You are the fourth generation of superheroes.
Nice.
The first generation, also called the Golden Generation, mirrors in like it exists in this world as a kind of like mirror image take on the initial superheroes that exist in our comic book fiction. So it's like the old classic kind of like cheesy, over the top comedy heroes, right? It's like Action Girl and Dr. Badman, something like that, right? Professor Nefarious, Some like guys like that. The first hero ever in this world's fiction to come out and like be a part of and stand in the limelight of public viewing was an American girl called Flying Freedom, who had like aviator glasses and a Stars and Stripes jacket.
That's terrible. So basically, like kind of patriotic. And now I obviously forgot the name. The lady that flew across the
Emilia Earhart
plane.
Is that it?
It's basically
I don't remember.
Like a love child of Captain America and Amelia Earhart.
Yep, that's probably it. But yeah, so like that's the initial generation of heroes. Some of them, although most of them are quite old at this point, like still exist and function in the city. Although mostly like in a not as active as you would think capacity. Then there are the Silver Generation, which came immediately following the first generation. This mirrors the time where comic books got like they started to turn up the seriousness. Everything became big and bombastic, and like this is the evil queen Belthasax who comes from the other dimension, and she comes to destroy the planet. Everything like got super powered and like crazy out of proportion very quickly. Everything got boosted and became very serious all of a sudden. It got even worse with the Bronze Generation, in which things got tuned down a good deal from like the Silver Generation. Heroes and villains of the Bronze Generation aren't as, generally speaking, like, as overpowered or as grand in scale and Doctor Doom-esque as the Silver Generation. But they exist, and an important factor in the Bronze Generation is when superheroes started, like we started seeing their human side more. Death started happening, and like personal injury became a thing. So it was where the narrative started getting more involved and like a bit more human and closer to heart. And then finally we have you guys, the new generation, the as of now unnamed generation of superheroes and villains.
I hope we're named something nice.
Kill it and
Yeah, obviously wood generation.
Yay.
Potato generation.
Yeah. All the
aluminum foil.
Indeed. But yeah, so this generation is like identified essentially by having like heroes and villains who are all like struggling to find their place in some respect, right? They're like, oh, I belong somewhere. I wonder where that is. Although like not all of them obviously project that, right? A good solid part of belonging to your generation is the pretense of belonging and knowing everything and then like struggling with it. So that's like a thing, right? Your generation is one of uncertainty in both the heroes and villains department. So that's a thing. But aside from that, nothing is really like that critically established about our setting. So there's a lot of wiggle room for both me to like make stuff up on the fly, but also for you guys to like just introduce elements in the fiction and be like, yeah, there is this place that exists in Halcyon City, and this faction somehow like exists because I think it should. And let's talk about that for a moment, right? So that's a thing you can do. You can take some control of the fiction, and don't be afraid to do so. If I think that what you're doing, like for some reason, conflicts with something we've already established, like we'll talk about it and like make sure it fits. We'll make it work. But don't be afraid to take charge of the fiction.
I'm looking at superhero names and found one that's just, name generator. Just to get an idea, one of the suggested names was Long Slayer.
Long Slayer?
Yeah.
So I don't
Slayer.
know what I'm assuming that's either like a really bad generator, or I'm assuming that it's supposed to be like a Chinese character. So it's like Jet Long Slayer, right? And then it became
one of the better one is the Fiery Gorilla.
I remember like
You can also have a gigantic enchanter.
I don't remember when I did it, but I once typed my name into a supervillain generator. It was like, what's your supervillain name based on your name? And I was like, it was not professor, it was some kind of professory title. And then it was madness. And I remember like the kind of professory title and following madness did not, like, those two words didn't fit. So it was like lecturer madness or something. It was like kind of bonkers, but at the same time it was like stupidly fitting the overall theme.
Oh, this one is good. Captain Hotshit.
Oh god. Oh no, please. Let's talk character creation. So there are some things that are true of your characters, just as there were things that were true of Halcyon City. Some of the things that are true of your characters, and that you will be making characters with the presumption that this is true, are the following. One is that you are residents of Halcyon City. You may not have been born here, you may not have lived here all your life, but you are presently residents of Halcyon City. And you have been here long enough to get the gist of the place and how things work. This is not to say that you can't make a Starfire character, right? You can't... Of course you can make a character who's not completely jealous with how the world works. So you can be like, let us go and partake of the pizza. Because it is lovely and joyful and tasty.
Pizza.
Right, you can... What?
Oh, I love the way she speaks.
And there is room for you to do that if that is what you want from your characters. But you will have been in the city long enough to have the basic understanding of how things work and operate. There is also this little factoid that you have been here, though you have been here long enough to get the gist of the place, you are also part of the superhero team because you want to be.
Yes.
I'm sorry if you can hear the dog going crazy. It just sounded like someone died in the street.
Oh.
Not that someone was driven over or anything. It just sounded like a mix of a man and a cow dying in the street. Not sure what the fuck they're doing out there.
It was the cow man.
Probably. The moo man.
It was the milkman.
You can also have the elegant Robin. I don't know what that is.
That is your first supervillain. Is like a cat and a cow got spliced like with radioactive DNA, and it's the bovine feline.
Cow.
Meow moo.
Oh god, no. Sorry, I'm gonna get. I know I did. It's just like, my mind births these things, and then I kind of want to unbirth them, but I can't. They just exist in my brainscape, and I don't want them to.
Yeah.
Oh god. So to get it back on track here. So you choose to be part of this team. What that means is not that you can, of course you can make a hard ass character. You can make a character who's all about who's being very loud and proud about how much better they would do if they went solo and how the team is dragging them down. But really and truly you want to be here. You want to be part of the team, and the reason you are not going out and doing solo stuff, or at least not staying solo, even if you do I'm gonna leave you guys now and then you'll be back in a week, is because it's like the team is something you want to be part of. You aren't killers yet.
Yet. That sounded ominous.
Yeah, so what I mean to say by that, and the reason I included yet, is because naturally, because the game can have different tones, right? You can have different tones and themes, but death is not a presumed path of your character. In fact, it is very much a rule that you have not yet crossed that threshold if you ever mean to. If you will ever mean to make killers of your character, you can do so, but you haven't done it yet.
Preferably not.
Indeed.
This makes me want to make it.
What we're trying to not do.
So exactly right. Making a murder hobo character is a thing that could end up happening. In which case, you will probably turn into a villain, and the plot will be about your team stopping you. But yeah, so it's not.
I just wanted those gold coins.
He offered me the minutest resistance. I had to murder him.
I wonder what a fabulous gorilla looks like, because that's apparently also a name you can have.
Yeah, I hope
Rip
it's pink.
Harambe.
Aw, don't bring Harambe into this. Stop beating a dead gorilla.
Yeah, let's keep our penises in our pants for Harambe. And the other thing that is supposed that is true of your characters is that you are not yet illegal or openly hunted. Again, yet.
Yay!
You might become that, but presently
that means we have room for improvement.
Presently, the government is not out for your blood.
It can happen. We have a Nova and we have a Doom.
There are definitely entities in this world who are like lobbying for the Superhuman Registration Act is definitely a thing, right? That's a thing that exists. Someone is lobbying to get control of all superheroes, and people with superpower should be registered, and that is a thing, definitely. But you are not the exclusionary targets of such movements.
Good.
And
there has to be a Tony Stark in here.
Indeed. And lastly, you aren't yet beloved. Right? Yeah, my mom loves me. Sure you are. Yeah, sure she does. Your mom loves you. Quite. But the populace as a whole does not yet love you. You have not taken a place in their hearts and carved out a niche for you in the minds and hearts of the people. You might be working towards it or striving for it, but you haven't gotten there yet.
I do not have a beloved yet. Aww.
Well, so yeah, that's you could definitely have a beloved. It is just that you are not beloved.
There's no bay. No bays allowed.
Let's start talking actual characters. Do you each have a playbook that you want to play?
Yes.
All right. So, for those in the viewing audience who have no clue what I'm talking about, in this game you play a character based on a set of playbooks. The playbooks incorporate certain types of superheroes, but more than the type of superhero, the playbooks are about what themes and issues we want the character to deal with. In this case, let's hear some of what we got going for us. Starting at the top, I guess. Who we got at top? AJ, yeah. What playbook have you selected for your character?
The Nova.
Indeed. All about having a lot of power in and having a hard time of containing it some of the time, and dealing with the notion of being a danger to people around you, and having exact control. Let's see who we got there. Finnowa. Who are you? What playbook have you chosen?
It's a legacy playbook.
Legacy, indeed. So you are. You come from a proud line of superheroes. People before you in the previous generations have all borne the same mantle that you now wear, and the crushing responsibility of people looking to you to fulfill or to surpass the generations that came before you is a very serious theme for your character. That people project onto you what you should be.
Yep.
Nightshade. What playbook have you chosen?
Yeah. I decided to go with the Janus, because if we're going to be teenagers, we might as well manage a teenage life with the superhero life.
So yeah, the Janus is...
Good luck with that.
The Janus is all about the duality of the superhero life and the normal life. It is very much the character for whom the mask is... the mask phrase is truest, in the sense that they have their real life and superhero identities are juxtaposed, and it's always about the real life getting in the way of the superhero life and having to deal with the two existences separately. Responsibilities from the outside world interfering with your superhero stuff, and your superhero career interfering with your life as a perfectly normal, superpowered teenager. Yeah, this is some real stuff. And then finally we have White Sparrow.
That would be me. And I have chosen the Doomed playbook.
Very good. So, yeah.
To play with.
The Doomed is all about the crushing burden of knowing something is gonna like come down on you. The Doomed has a destiny set in stone. They have an enemy somewhere out there, some kind of force that opposes them, and their bond to this enemy also is also attached to their powers. And in using their powers and in just existing and doing stuff that they do to exist, they move closer and closer to their inevitable doom. This is also the only playbook that has a direct impact on the tone of the game, because if you fail to overcome if you fail to overcome your doom, you will die. And this is the only playbook for whom death becomes an assured part of the game.
Yes.
So yeah, you have enormous power, and unfortunately, fated. Your fate is set, and it is quite horrible. And you have it's for you. It's a matter of like, do you submit to fate, or do you fight to oppose what cannot be changed? All right. So let's.
I assume you didn't want me to answer that right now.
This is just the thematics of the characters. We'll start up top, I guess. The first character on this track is the Doomed. Okay, so we'll start out with you, Rasmus. We'll
start out with me. Okay.
So you've picked your playbook. We're gonna go for the Doomed. Would you read out the blurb for your playbook?
Yes. Let's see. Something about your powers dooms you. It's just a matter of time before your doom comes for you. Until then, though, you've got a nemesis who needs fighting, and a world that needs saving. After all, it's better to burn out than fade away.
Hell yeah, it is. We're the princes of the universe.
Boom!
Okay, so the first thing we should talk about is your name. What's your character's name, and what is the superhero name?
Oh, okay. I was confused for a moment. So the superhero name, as you mentioned, is White Sparrow. And their name is Ileana North.
Very good.
I'll probably actually write that in the details on the character sheet while we're going.
As we talk of your characters and like establish facts about your characters, write them in your character bio on your character sheet so we can always like look at it and cross-reference it. It's good stuff. I'll try and make notes of things that I find to be of particular interest, but I'm bad at note keeping, so.
I'll just copy most of what I have so far to it.
So if you look below your name on the playbook, you'll see something called look, and this is like a short burst phrases that describe your character. Would you describe your look for us?
Yes. Let's see. Woman, white, steely eyes, adaptive clothing, and adaptive costume.
Oh, very cool. Tell us a bit about the adaptive clothing and adaptive costume.
Sure. It's the thing is, it would be easiest to explain the concept that I have, because this also kind of ties into it.
I mean, sure. Go ahead. Tell us of your idea.
All right. So my idea is, how to say? So, a few years ago, there was this girl, Ileana, who was quite a happy and active girl who very much liked the outdoors. I imagined she lived with her parents outside of Halcyon City. Unfortunately, she was... Did someone disconnect?
I don't know. Let's have a look.
Someone did disconnect.
Yeah.
It was Comrade Brain. Do you want me to wait?
Yeah, no, just keep going.
Oh, he's back. He's back. All right. So she was an active girl, lived outside of Halcyon City, probably close to a forest or something like that. Loved being out there. Unfortunately, she was suddenly struck by a disease, or not suddenly, but she noticed she had a harder and harder time moving about, and she got very sick. So her parents moved to Halcyon City in order to get the best treatment for their poor daughter.
Of course, you were closer to the hospitals and pharmaceutical companies and so on. You could get the help with all the super science available in Halcyon City.
Of course. At this time, Ileana didn't actually know it, but she had latent psychic abilities, specifically the ability of what is it called? Psychic constructions. So she can make things out of psychic energy.
Oh.
So as she laid in the hospital bed, these powers began slowly emerging, and she found out that she could make small lights and stuff like that. And this being the setting, she of course knew that superpowers was a thing. So while she was spending pretty much every day in a hospital bed, she began imagining what it would be like to be a superhero. Deeds of greatness, saving people, all that stuff. Unfortunately, her condition only deteriorated, and as she got worse, she began having more dark thoughts. She began resenting the fact that she probably wouldn't survive. She was in a great deal of pain, and eventually she did, in fact, die.
Oh my.
However, her powers were such that at her death, her life energy was released into the world, and because of her powers, they manifested in two distinct entities. The first one was a construct of the mental image she had constructed of herself as a hero, which is White Sparrow. In actuality, she is a psychic construct, but she is being maintained by the life force that was released. On the other side, we have her nemesis. I have no name for it, or her, or whatever, but it's the psychic construct of all the pain and hatred and grief that Ileana felt as her condition worsened and she died. The thing is that the heroic construct is mostly powered by positive emotions and saving people and generally doing heroic stuff, whereas the evil construct is powered by this very stuff that made it.
Oh.
And those two eventually will have to, one of them has to die so that the other can become whole and live on.
And so far it seems like it seems like it most definitely will be your dark side that will take over.
Yes, because it has a much easier time powering itself up.
Wonderful.
It's much easier to make people suffer than happy.
Hell yeah.
Especially when you have powers. So as for the the thing is, for Ileana, is that her costume is adaptive because, well, she's a psychic construct. So she can change the way she looks as she wants to.
Oh. All right. So in that sense, you're so let's talk about that because I like the idea.
I should specify actually that she can't change the way she looks unlimitedly, but she can change her outfit through her psychic powers.
Right. So it's like your
she is still bound to the hero shape.
So I'm imagining what I'm getting from you is like that the Ileana that we see and who will come to know over the course of the game is for all intents and purposes is like the youthful teenager that she would have been, but
yes.
like put in an awful position where all the bullshit they have to deal with, all the angst they feel, all the problems that they face, aside from dragging them down and like being this crushing burden on them as it is for all teenagers, also just happens to like happens to pour fuel on a fire that is threatening to inevitably consume her.
Yes.
That's delightfully horrendous.
And continuing on, I have picked abilities, which the primary one being psychic constructs, of course. And I've chosen, it says choose up to 3, and I've just been greedy and chosen 3. So I've psychic constructs, which is, if you look at the picture I've drawn, it should be under bio and info. She can construct things out of psychic energy, and she constructs things either stuff that looks like animals or looks like plants. She prefers that. It's easier for her because it reminds her of the happy times she spent in the woods near her parents' house. Aside from that, I've picked body transmutation, which is she can change her body again because it's made of the same stuff.
Yeah.
I think perhaps mostly again animals. And then I've picked super strength and speed, namely, and I have a line that ties into that, which is speed of thought, strength of conviction.
Very nice. Can I ask, do you ever wonder if you're real?
I think she is intuitively aware of his situation, so she knows that she's like 90% real, and she can become real. So in that essence, she knows that she's not, but has the possibility to.
So okay, I'm just curious, like if that was if her awareness of her situation was like an existential problem for her too, right? Is it like?
I think for the most part she considers herself real, and I don't think she necessarily likes to be reminded of the fact that she's not.
Let's keep the moral argument of whether or not she is real, if she is a conscious thing of her own designs and determinations. Let's keep that as an open conversation topic for this character, because I like it.
It also kind of, plays into how many actually knows that she's a psychic construct.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yes.
If they don't know, then they wouldn't know that she isn't quote unquote real.
I can actually answer that, if I may. Skip ahead a little. It says under Doom that you have 2 conditions that advance your Doom. Yep. And one of them, the ones I've picked, would be injuring innocence, because it contradicts her heroic image. And talking about it openly, because it reminds her of, well, it brings up all the unpleasantness, and instinctively it weakens her.
That's really cool.
And makes the dark side stronger.
That is so awesome.
So I would say, aside from the fact that one of my relationships is that I've told someone about it, that would probably be the only person who knows.
So good. So one of you in this vlog is going to carry a huge responsibility. All right, so you got your powers down: body transmutation, psychic constructs, and superhuman strength and speed. Your nemesis, we don't have a name for it. We'll get one. I'll ask you to name your nemesis.
Yes, I've considered, if I should make it just like the anti-White Sparrow, as we talked about, or if I should do something else. I haven't decided yet.
I want to ask if any of you
Reverse Flash.
Does anyone in any of you guys have an idea for what the name of this nemesis is?
Black Raven.
That could be quite cool. Also because it's kind of an homage to Raven.
Right.
Sure. Let's go with that.
Nemesis goes by Black Raven.
And I think perhaps, unless you disagree, her powers would be the same as Ileana's, because she is basically the same. And she would probably look like a distorted version of her.
Yeah, it's like a film negative of you.
Yeah, something like that. She's probably, or she is, much stronger. I would assume.
I am. I have made note of this. So yeah, Black Raven is like like your all the bad. She's your Black Wolf. I got this. This is gonna be
Probably.
good. Okay. So let's talk about like just the minutiae of what it means for you to have a nemesis. Like the nemesis is of course what's gonna drive your doom, and eventually you will either face your nemesis, or you will perish, or you will face your nemesis and perish. Either or. At the end of every session we do, we will have you answer the question: did you make any progress on defeating your nemesis? And if we can honestly answer yes, then you mark potential, which is getting better at stuff, right? If you mark enough potential, you get new powers and you get better at what you're doing. And if your answer is no, then we mark your doom track. And your doom track is essentially the same as marking progress, like marking potential, except that it moves you inevitably closer to dying. But it also unlocks even more of your power.
Yeah, as I see it, I can unlock 5 times, and then the 6th time is your doom arrives, confronted, and perish.
Yep.
Yikes.
The doomed is some harsh stuff. So let's move into your labels now. And for you, beloved viewing audience, and for the other beloved people here who are playing and who don't know what the labels actually mean. The labels are they're an embodiment of your self-image. You have the 5 labels. You have danger, you have freak, savior, superior, and mundane. Danger is how dangerous you consider yourself. It's about like how likely do you consider yourself to like perpetuate collateral damage. How big of a threat to other people do you consider yourself? Like that sort of thing. The higher your danger, the easier of a time you will have at doing things that use your danger, like getting up in people's faces and beating them up, is tied to your danger. Because if you consider yourself like a dangerous individual, then it's easier for you to get in tune with that side of your powers. Like conversely, if you are like you have a very low danger impression of yourself, doing that thing will be very hard for you, for opposing reasons, right? Freak is about separation. It's about you being like, you're a superhero, you have weird powers, you're not a human, you're different from everyone, and it's about like loneliness and being isolated. Savior is about helping people. The higher your savior, the easier of a time you have of defending people or stepping into like help people, standing in people's defense. But it's also like about your own martyr streak, right? If you have high savior, then you're probably gonna save a school bus full of children from falling off a bridge. But you're probably also gonna be like a self-satisfied asshole about it.
Probably
have like your holier than thou thing going on. Again, because it's all about self-image. Superior is being smarter. It's also like a bit of the distancing yourself from other people, but in this sense, it's about a superiority complex. The higher your superiority, the smarter you are. Essentially, you think stuff through more like cool-headed, more calmly. You can like manipulate people and work stuff out. But the lower your superior, like the more intellectually bullied you feel by the world around you. And your mundane is your ability to relate to other people, to empathize, to gel with your mundane lifestyle, to embrace your human nature. So the lower your mundane, the harder of a time you have interacting with and relating to other people. And for you, you have what labels assigned from the beginning?
From the beginning, I have danger +1, freak +1, savior +1, superior -1, and mundane 0.
Aside from that, you will add 1 to any one label you choose. Which have you chosen?
I have chosen to add 1 to savior.
Cool. All right, very good. And then we'll get to let's talk backstory. So we already got a lot of your backstory, but let's make sure we like let's go through these points again, and we'll just take them like in brief bursts. to see if we can clear some
Yes.
stuff up. So when did you first learn of your doom?
When at creation, I think both parts of the original power source knew intuitively what had happened and what needed to be done if either of them were to survive for good.
Oh, that's horrible. That's really horrible. Okay, I love it. So
I also think they didn't originate at the same place, but I'll get back to that when we get to Sanctuary.
So tell me about your Sanctuary. Where did you get it?
The Sanctuary is the place where White Sparrow emerged, which is, I would say a grove in that forest. I don't know if that's okay since it's slightly outside of Halcyon City or Halcyon City
fine.
outskirts.
Totally fine.
In that case, the grove in which Ileana spent a lot of her childhood. It's that, but you can go there and then you can access the I would say idealized version of that.
Is there like a sparrow cave? Like, is there like an old ruin that belonged to some former hero that you identify with that you can access from that grove? In the remnants of an old tree or something?
Yeah, maybe. The way I thought of it perhaps was, again, going back to the psychic construct. It's more like shifting into Ileana's idealized version of this place. As she remembered it before she died.
Okay, so stop me if this is like different from what you imagined, but have you seen Doctor Strange?
I have not yet. I intend to.
Okay, then this won't this comparison won't help as much. I was thinking about the Mirrorverse from Doctor Strange. So it's essentially like you tap into an idealized version of that place, and that is a place you stop existing in the real world and start existing there, and that's where your sanctuary is. Is that like what you're driving at?
Yeah, and I at least assume you have to actually go there physically before you can shift into
like
there.
There's a gate or something. Cool.
Yes.
Dig it. Why do you oppose your
Do you want me?
Go on.
Do you want me to pick the traits of the sanctuary now that we're
at
it?
I think we'll just get to it in order, just because I'm more comfortable just running this as written. So why do you oppose your nemesis? She is stronger than you. She like your doom seems inevitable. So why fight?
Well, what she's doing, harming people and making them suffer in order to gain power, is just plain wrong. So even if it means getting closer to being destroyed, I have to oppose it. It's the right thing to do.
Very nice. Very nice. Okay, cool. That answers that very succinctly.
Could I come with a little suggestion?
Sure.
Well, knowing that you, as both of you and the one who died, are the reason for this black thing to live, could also give her a sense of, I really need to destroy this shit because I'm partly at fault for it.
Oh, it's my duty. I definitely like that.
Right.
It's your fucking duty. Also, it's hurting people. I should do something.
Good. So it's not only that it is the right thing to do, it is that you feel guilty whenever your badness causes on other people injury.
Yes, exactly.
So it's to survive because it's your fault and because people are dying.
That is strong right there. Okay. Who outside of this team is crucial to you defeating your nemesis?
I have given no thought to that, actually. I'm open for suggestions, because if it's outside the team, then
Does anyone have any ideas for like who could outside of this team who could be central to defeating White Sparrow's evil self?
What about her family?
I would have to then figure out if she's gotten into contact with her family. Then, I mean, if she has, then they would probably be a good candidate.
Well, the problem could be that she doesn't know how to. Hey, I'm your dead daughter's psychic memory. help me defeat this black thing that also came
Could
out
it
of your
be
daughter.
that your family is not aware that you died? Like, you died, you flatlined in the hospital, and then, like, miraculously you came back after, like, the doctors, like, gave you an emergency treatment. You returned, in air quotes, but it was just, like, your good self, and your bad self, like, existed somewhere else, and you were immediately aware of it. So they don't think they've lost their daughter?
I like that. I actually quite like that. That gives me more people to hide the truth from.
Hell yeah. Okay, let's do that. Do you want do you want your family to be central to you returning to becoming you, to defeating your nemesis, or do you want, like, should we go for, like, an old sensei or something like that?
Either is actually fine. The way I see it, a part of it would be being able to build up hope, in a sense, and I think you can get that from both family and the team or whatever.
Yeah, let's do both. There's nothing stopping us from picking more than one person here. So yeah, so like your family is important.
I think perhaps to contrast the Janus, I think her family knows then that she has powers.
Right. So your family is aware. Are they cool with it?
They're aware she's a hero. I think they are cool with it in the sense that they know she's doing the right thing, but they don't want her to get hurt.
Worried, but it's not like, oh, you're a mutant, ew, throws tomatoes. It's that, like, well, do you have? Yeah,
please be careful.
To go and
not getting the triple.
Can't your team or someone else? There are plenty of superheroes out there. Leave it to the professionals. You should be focusing on your studies.
Yeah, something like that.
Yeah, I'm in. I'm jumping in. Okay, so we got that, and then like maybe like some figure that is assisting you for some reason. Like you're essentially like you're a psychic construct. Maybe like maybe there's some kind of like maybe there's a medium who's like trying to help you.
That could be cool. And they would, I mean, in essence, they would also be able to sense the bad construct.
Yeah, that's good. I like that. All right. So, like, what do you want from such a character?
I was actually thinking then, perhaps someone who's quite heavy on the mystic side, and perhaps someone who's more interested in resolving this conflict and restoring balance than actually rooting for either side.
Okay, I like that. So, like someone who's kind of detached in a sense. Yeah. So this is probably someone who's like very experienced in this stuff. Like who have seen bad stuff come and go. We're probably dealing with a person from one of the former generations.
Probably. I mean, perhaps someone who thinks that if Sparrow wins, cool, you get to exist. If Raven wins, cool, you get to exist. Either way, this has to be resolved.
Right. And what is this person's reason for like helping you and not helping Black Raven?
Who's to say they don't help Black Raven?
Ah, that's so good.
They could be a mystical advisor to both of them.
That's good. That's strong. I love it. Okay, yeah. So some kind of like some mystic, some guru figure.
Yeah, and I'm definitely thinking mystic. So it's just not just like, well, she's over there, go get her, but more like vague hints, and perhaps if you build up relationship to that person, something in the future might go better or something like that.
So good.
So definitely guru.
All right, cool. What's that person's name?
Name or alias?
Let's go with alias. What's the person's alias?
Baboon tits.
Baboon tits? I think not. I'm thinking something with I.
Oh yeah, what? Vision?
Wise Eye?
Are we keeping with the aviary theme?
Eagle Eye? Eagle Eye sounds like
I think the avian theme. Yeah, I think the avian theme is specifically because the original Ileana liked birds. So this person would probably have something unrelated to that.
Mind's Eye.
Yeah, sure. That sounds cool.
Cool. Mind's Eye.
Should I write this down, or do you?
Write down. Write it down too. I'm also taking notes, but write it down so you keep hold of what you deem to be important, and I'll do the same. So some kind of mystical.
I will do that.
Cool.
I will write it down as mentor.
Cool. And then we'll skip the team question until we've introduced all characters.
Makes sense.
So pick your doom. You need to. Doom. So you choose injuring innocents and talking about it openly.
Yes, those are the ones I choose.
The doom sign's not relevant yet. Let's talk about your sanctuary then. Let's get back to that. So you have your sanctuary is a place where you can rest, recover, and reflect on your powers. Choose 3 features of your sanctuary.
The ones I looked at were, I think, meditation space, a power battery, and healing equipment. But the way I'm thinking of it is that, she can draw on the happy memories from there to heal herself. That's what I'm thinking with healing.
They can take like a lot of different shapes. So what?
Yes.
Could you repeat them just for my sake?
A meditation space. It's a place of calm and serenity and happy memories where you can meditate in peace.
And
a power battery. It's a place, again, of warm and happy memories, which is what funnels her powers.
Yeah, is maybe where you feel like most in tune.
Yeah, definitely. And I think it's probably crucial to her being able to even stay in the game. Because, as I said, Black Raven has an easy time getting grief and hate and hurt and pain. She could pretty much just kidnap someone and torture them, right? It's not so easy for Sparrow.
So when you make a statement like that, you're like implicitly challenging me to attack your sanctuary, right? And then, good.
I know.
Just so we.
It's very important to her power, to her maintaining, basically her existence. I assume.
That's good.
All her powers. That's why I picked power battery.
This is a perfect setup for an arc. Let's talk about that in the future.
And then healing equipment ties into that. She can restore her psyche, her physical form, by again drawing upon these happy memories and the very reason that Ileana originally wanted to become a hero.
Of course. What are the 2 downsides of your sanctuary?
I haven't read those yet, so let's see. It's definitely tied intricately to your doom might be one.
Cool.
In that it only has a finite amount of power, perhaps can run out. I don't know. Otherwise, I would say it's either difficult to access or location known to many, because it's a forest slightly out of Halcyon City. It's not like it's a secret, right? If it is a secret, it's mostly because perhaps people wouldn't think to go there, but Raven knows.
So yeah, let's decide if it's difficult to access or if it's a derp where it's a location known to many. Because there are
I'd say it's a location known to many. It's not difficult to access. Just go there.
Location known to many. Yeah, so it's not in the secret dungeon. It's by a stone's throw away from a park bench somewhere along a track.
But yeah, cool. Basically.
Very nice. Yeah. So that is all we need to know about your character right now. Although
I have a final note about the sanctuary, actually. Just because, I'm a masochist, I would say that because of its importance, it would probably also mean that if Raven manages to destroy or corrupt it, that would be a very heavy blow.
Taking notes. Okay, so we're coming up on the end of the hour. Actually, we've passed.
And I need to go make popcorn.
So we'll take a brief break here, and then you can, while we have this break, ruminate on your moment of truth and your team moves. We don't really need to talk about them, but like read them over and make sure you get them. We'll.
Yes, I will make popcorn and then I'll do that.
And then when we come back, we'll get into the rest of you guys as characters, and then we'll see about getting this team together and ask the final questions. So that's
cool.
been it for this hour. To you, dear viewing audience, catch us in the next hour. Until then, bye.